like they said in Days of Thunder, loose is fast and on the verge of out of control. And if it's loose, you know it's fast, and there's probably a Thomas Harmon behind the wheel, and that's exactly who's piloting that 68 machine. But cannot say enough about TBB in the early going here. 60 laps in this time by, and that car has been straight cash money through the opening stages of this race here from the Irish Hills of Michigan.
All right, well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. I apologize for we weren't even live there, so that's unfortunate. You guys have missed some fantastic racing. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's led virtually from the get-go. Super sideways there coming out of turn 2. Thomas Harmon has come from 8th place all the way back to, or has come back from 10th place all the way up to 2nd, up 8 spots. Matt Sisler started 3rd, runs 3rd. Austin Collins from 11th place up to 4th. Brandon Borby started in 2nd. He's fallen back to 5th place. David Wright, Mike Lemon, Philip Bush, Jacob Gladulich, and Richard Springer rounding out the top 10. We've had a couple of incidents early on. Ralph Fasano Sr. and the 77 of Clinton Rayner got together, sent the 15 into the inside wall. That did not bring out a caution. Dave Acacia got into the wall down the backstretch and got a little bit of help from Richard Springer. Got him turned into the outside wall. That did not bring out a caution either. Taylor Butcher Benjamin scrapes the wall down the back straightaway. Loosens up the car, trying to save it, but that's going to allow Thomas Harmon to chase him down big time. That gap is only 2 seconds.
Yeah, that was a big moment there for TBB, but what a job saving that race car. But now look at that gap, now under 2 seconds. So that's just what the doctor ordered there. If you're in the TBB camp, is now he can almost start benefiting from that draft if he's able to close in a little bit more on that 8. And I would imagine that damage that he got on that Chevrolet is probably going to slow him up just a little bit, just like we've seen with DK and others. We're going to have to keep an eye on this developing story. But right now, still the 8 out in front, but Thomas Harmon, let's see if he can start to reel him in now, as that 8 had a big-time moment. The side of that race car doesn't look that bad, look too bad, though.
Oh, it doesn't. He seems to be able to hold it around the same pace. Let's see what the lap times look like for these two as they come across the line. That time by TBB a little bit quicker, as that gap still sits right around 2 seconds.
You know, it's just incredible to watch TBB, Thomas Harmon, Austin Collins, and other competitors in this series. Little wall contact, no problem. He backs it up by running a faster lap. Still able to, that deficit still hanging right around that 1.8 second range, 1.8 seconds back to Thomas Harmon in that 68. But we know he is the closer. Matt Sisler, Everham Power Dodge on the racetrack. Myself, a big fan of Dodge horsepower as well. Great to see Matt Sisler up there in the 93, representing Everham and the Dodge. All of us Dodge fans around the NASCAR world. But the 68, that is one person you never want to see out your back windshield. And I can tell you this, Taylor Butcher Benjamin can tell you all about it. But this may be setting up for another great 68 versus 8 battle. We're going to have to see how this plays out, as we're already 64 laps in the books. Everyone's still trying to catch that 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. As we go to the blit view, you can see, get a good, really perspective just how much further ahead that 8 machine is. He is going past the start-finish line right now, as we can maybe possibly pan back here to Thomas Harmon, who is just out of screen. There he is. So that's what it looks like distance-wise on the racetrack. When you're hauling off into turn 1 at 200 miles an hour, 2 seconds, that's a lot bigger than what you think, like you said, when you're going almost a football field a second. And pit stops may have started again, as now the 38 of Lemon now on pit road, setting sights on that pit box.
Yep, Mike Lemon going to lead the charge down to the pit lane. So we'll see when these leaders start to come down too, and see if maybe an undercut is the call for Thomas Harmon or Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Although Harmon stayed out an extra lap compared to TBB and Austin Collins, a lot of those other guys. Didn't really lose much, if any, time throughout that pit cycle. So you're going to want to be absolutely flawless if you're the 8, Taylor Butcher Benjamin here, trying to keep that 68 behind you throughout the pit cycle. It's 1.5 seconds is the gap between first and second.
And so that gap is starting to go in the favor of Harmon. If you remember, just a couple laps ago, it's right around that 2-second mark. Now a second and a half. Under that now, down to 1.3. Oh, look at this. The 8's going to come into pit road here. Hopefully get it loaded up at time of that commitment code. Remember, you get caught speeding, that's going to be a hefty penalty, especially as this race is setting up to go green flag to flag coverage here once again on SRM. The 8 on pit road looking for his pit stop. Don't want to overshoot the box and have to put it into reverse. That is precious time out there on the racetrack. The biggest question is now Thomas Harmon gets the lead here, but how long do you want to stay out on that racetrack? Because there's about 3 seconds of fall off from fresh Dr. Feelgoods to the Dr. Feelbads on that 68 machine and others right now.
It seems like he's slowing down coming up off of 4. Thomas Harmon into the pits this time. Does he get it slowed down? Looks like he's A-okay in that retrospect. Matt Sisler follows him down. Austin Collins, David Wright. We'll see if Philip Bush does from 5th place, or if he's going to stay out to inherit the lead. Looks like he goes wide up off of 4, stays out. He's going to lead a lap. Maybe next time around, Thomas Harmon's still the race leader, but we'll see where Taylor Butcher Benjamin's going to blend out in comparison to Thomas Harmon and Matt Sisler. 1 lap fresher tires on that number 8 Budweiser machine, compared to Thomas Harmon coming in, or staying out to lead an extra lap. Harmon's out of the pits. Taylor Butcher Benjamin's coming around the front stretch.
And remember, TBB is at speed, so Thomas Harmon's really going to have to hustle here. Oh, here we go. Great. He was coming by at the line going through turns 1 and 2. You can see the 8 is going to motor on by as he's already off the corner and onto the backstretch. Taylor Butcher Benjamin waiting for scoring and timing to update here. He's about 1.7 seconds back. So, hey, not that bad. Did a great job on that pit sequence there. Is TBB still poised to be able to take that lead when the 64 of Bush does come in, and that will cycle Benjamin back to the lead, with Thomas Harmon having about the same margin to make up before that previous sequence.
Yeah, Taylor Butcher Benjamin gains about 4/10 of a second on that pit sequence. Now it's about 1.8 seconds back to Thomas Harmon. But we'll see how Harmon's short run speed's going to be, if he's going to be able to try to catch up a little bit. We know he's strong on the long runs. While we have a moment after those pit cycles, we'll go ahead and show you some of the action that we weren't able to show you because of my little mistake there. Early on in the race, Ralph Fasano racing with the 77. 77 gets loose in front of him, comes down, they get together. That's going to send Fasano into the inside wall. Considerable amount of damage on that machine. Had to come in. He's now, I believe, 9 laps down. And then Dave Acacia went out of the race on lap number 12 due to this heavy hit that did not bring out a caution. He got into the wall, and when he pulled off, he came down in front of Richard Springer, got him hard into the outside wall.
That was a shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the caution didn't come out there, but iRacing does iRacing things sometimes. It's not always great at registering those things, but a couple of incidents early on. We've been green flagged the whole way, though. Taylor Butcher Benjamin has 30 laps to try to keep Thomas Harmon behind him.
At 30 laps, that's a long ways, especially around this 2-mile racetrack here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Can Thomas the Hammer get it done once again, as we have a classic 868 battle shaping up? But how about the 45 and the 42? Seem like they've been battling an awful lot on the racetrack at times. Brandon Broby inside the top 5. He has that final top 5 position, holding on to 5th. And that 42, yes, if David Wright wants it, driving the throwback there to John Andretti, Richard Petty paint scheme. Still like that Pontiac, man. Even from back in the day, I was a fan of that race car. You remember the whole marketing slogan, wider is better. And in the case of Cup Series racing, that extra length on the nose of that Pontiac at time was the difference in some of these marquee races, as the 42 continues to put the business on the back of the 45.
And like you said, these guys have been virtually inseparable all race. racing around each other, trading spots back and forth. This time it's for 5th place. They're trying to catch up to Austin Collins just in front of them, who's kind of plateaued a bit. You know, he was able to get up into 4th place, was as high as 3rd place now, but hasn't been able to stay with Thomas Harmon after Harmon got around Sisler.
Yeah, and you know, it's got to be frustrating for drivers like the 45 of Brandon Broby and the 42 of David Wright, who these drivers are bad fast. And now he's going for the pass here as he pokes his nose down to the inside in that Pontiac. He's going to sail it down to the bottom, but can he make it stick here? As we're looking out the passenger side of the race car here, really getting some great onboard camera work. And you can see just the momentum that the 45 of Broby able to carry off the corner. It's going to give him the advantage down this very long front stretch here. Is the 45 now able to gap it out over a few car lengths yet? But that 42 seems to be stronger in the 1 and 2 sectors of the racetrack, where the 45 seems to be better in 3 and 4.
It definitely looks that way, although last time around, Brandon Broby through turns 1 and 2 was able to extend that gap just a little bit more. Gap up front has increased to 1.7 seconds as we're approaching 25 laps to go when they hit the line. Definitely keep you updated on that. Matt Sisler sits about 6 seconds off of that top 2. And has about 2 seconds back to Austin Collins. Look at how close these guys are getting, though. David Wright all up on the rear bumper of the 45. Now, once again, looks down to the inside, down the back straightaway to try to take away 5th place.
Oh, how can you not love this race car? These cars, oh my gosh, the intensity of this side-by-side battle, the 45 and the 42, putting on a show. He's got the bottom, he's got the advantage, but will the 45 rock the top? No, he's going to try to undercut the 42. He's going to cut down, cover the position. He's going to get the benefit of the draft, though, so see if the 45 here can possibly slingshot him down into the corner. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to, but he goes down there. The 42 comes down to cover the spot. They're going to be rotating the corner, running the low line, coming up to the top of the racetrack as you put the power back down. And inertia just carries that car right out to the wall. And that's some of the greatest side-by-side battling you will ever see at Michigan in this 4th-gen car, courtesy of the 45 of Brandon Broby and the 42 of David Wright. How can you not love this racing action that this Gen 4 car is capable of putting on? Well, we go back to the front. TBB has been straight money here throughout the course of this race, but Thomas Harmon continues to cut into the deficit, now just 1.30 seconds back. Deja vu all over again, perhaps. We're going to have to see, but how many, I know I've said it time and time again, but the 8 and 68 have just been just been clinical when it comes to some of the great battles we've seen over the course of this season. And this race is setting up to have another great finish between these two drivers. But right now, DK, the only car in the middle, in between the 8 and the 68 of Harmon, is now the 14, now a lap down, I believe, in that 9th position.
That's sir. DK 1 lap down. The only car separating Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Thomas Harmon. It'll be interesting to see if that gap increases as Harmon gets closer to the 14, though, and how much of a fight that 14 is going to put on for Harmon. Won't benefit much by fighting him, but, you know, it's still up to Harmon to try to make this pass and make it clean. He's got to run down the front straightaway. I'm sure he's going to look down to the inside. There he goes.
Peeks his nose down to the inside, door to door. Oh, the 14 in the wall there.
And he almost came down and clipped Harmon.
Yeah, I had to catch my breath. I don't know if Thomas Harmon knew what had happened, but that potentially could have been catastrophic to the 68. Great job by the 14 there of Drift King, just keeping that car off the 68. So now there is no cars in between the 8 of Benjamin and the 68 of Harmon. Lap 79 in the books, going to lap 100. There's going to be 20 laps to go, this time by at the line. The deficit 1 second, and this is setting up to be a classic Michigan thriller. Is TBB in the 68 of Harmon. They're going to go to battle here once again before it's all said and done. I can feel it.
Now that 68 machine getting closer and closer in the rear view of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Taylor was able to hold the charge of Matt Sisler early on in the race. He got to about a car length off of him before he was able to increase that gap again. Thomas Harmon, though, might be a little bit different of a beast to try to tackle here. Harmon second in all-time wins here in the Dynasty Racing League. Trying to get closer and closer to taking that top spot. 0.7 of a second of separation between first and second. They are in the same screenshot.
Remember, we had to go to the blip earlier on in the race. Not anymore. As you go on board with the hammer, Harmon himself, you can see just how close he is now to the 8 machine of Benjamin, who continues to lead. But Harmon making a bid for this one late as he continues to try and carry the momentum off the corner there. You see that Harmon sliding in that race car just a little bit as he gets trying to get all the power he can out of that Chevrolet.
Mike Lemon had himself a bit of a moment there in turns 1 and 2. That allowed Philip Bush to get around him. That was a pass for 7th place.
Yeah, Philip Bush, one of the newcomers to the series, having a great, I think this may be his debut, if I'm not mistaken. And if that's so, having a great showing here in his, potentially his inaugural run here this season in the series. But Harmon and Butcher Benjamin getting ready to have one of their classic battles here set up at the end. But the time continues to wind down. But I'm telling you, in the words of Phil Collins, I can feel it in the air tonight, and it is coming. The storm is a-brewing, and everyone that is watching this race, get the popcorn, get your drinks ready, because the ending of this race is going to be huge. I'm telling you, this is going to be one to remember, as the 8 and the 68 are setting up here for a dogfight as we come down to the end.
Yeah, these guys doing what they do best, and that's doing battle on the racetrack. It's less than half a second. The gap from first to second, Taylor Butcher Benjamin over Thomas Harmon. 17 laps to go this time around. This is really heating up, and I tell you what, we are in for a treat. Don't look now, Richard Springer is just behind these guys on fresher tires. Much fresher tires, probably about 10 lap fresher tires. So he's going to be fast trying to catch up to these guys. Going to want to get one of his laps back. That might throw a hammer into the Hammer's plans of getting around TBB.
Yeah, or does it help him? We're going to have to find out, but you're right. That 21 is coming. He has substantially pressured tires, just like you said. And you know he's going to be hungry to get one of those laps back, especially if we have a last race caution or late race caution here. As the 21 has already caught the 68, but he's going to get down to the inside, leave plenty of space here to try and get his lap back while not impeding this battle up front. We're going to have to see what this does. Where does the 21 catch the 8 is going to be critical. He catches him into the corner. He's probably going to be able to stay to the low side of the racetrack and rotate the bottom. Don't slide up. Oh, great job there by the 21 and the 8 staying off of each other. While this side-by-side battle is going on, though, that aero drag should allow the 68 of Harmon to close the gap even further.
Battle for 7th place heating up. Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets passed by the 21. That's going to allow Thomas Harmon to get ever so much closer. It's 2 car lengths now. Taylor Butcher Benjamin's got the advantage of drafting with the 21. Now he moves back down to the inside. That might compromise his line a little bit. Could help Harmon get closer.
Oh, such a vicarious position for that 21 right now to be in. Probably doesn't want to be anywhere but here on the racetrack, but he is. Right now, he is helping the 8 get a little bit of nitrous boosters with that draft, helping the 8 with those straightaway speeds right now. They're going to go down again, and look who is there in the picture right off the back in prime time. You don't need a camera lens. You use a prime lens, and he is right there. The 68 of Harmon has caught Benjamin as we're currently on lap 87. I am speechless right now because I know it's about to happen. Look how close he continues to dial him in right onto the back bumper of that Budweiser 8 machine. Gonna try now to get him to
two. He was sliding that whole corner.
He said, Drift King, eat your heart out. Watch this.
Absolutely, he did. 13 laps to go this time by here at Michigan. The top two separated by a quarter of a second, then it's 7.5 seconds back to Matt Sisler in third place. These two have been the absolute class of the field all day. Taylor Butcher Benjamin leading the race from the get-go, only losing it during green flag pit stops. Thomas Harmon started in 10th. He's worked his way up to second place without the help of a caution, and at one point was 6 seconds behind your race leader. Now just a quarter of a second down the back straightaway as we get closer and closer to 10 laps to go.
Closer and closer to 10 laps to go. We get in closer and closer. Harmon gets to the number 8, who has been the class of the field. But Harmon trying to upset the party in the 8 camp. But look at this. It seems like the 8 machine has found another gear as he has been able to hold off the charge from the 68. Did Harmon potentially use up his tires, making up all of that distance up on the racetrack? It's certainly possible, but we all know how good Harmon is on the long run. But guess who's been the student of this throughout the whole course of the season? The man right in front of him. That 8 car has been put in these positions so many times. Maybe the student is going to beat the teacher here today. We're going to have to see as they about near each other through turns 3 and 4 as we're coming down past the start-finish line one more time.
11 laps to go, and Taylor Butcher Benjamin got pretty loose there coming out of 4. It was a quick wiggle, but it was a significant one as Thomas Harmon now once again within a car length of the rear bumper. Is that going to loosen up the 68 again? He slides a little bit wider coming out of 2, but keeps on the throttle. It's about 0.2 of a second down the back straightaway. He hasn't been able to get much closer, and this is where Taylor Butcher Benjamin was really strong at the beginning of the race. When Matt Sisler got to the rear bumper of him, he was able to keep him back there. Utilize the dirty air, take away his line a little bit. That time around, though, Thomas Harmon quicker than Taylor Butcher Benjamin in 3 and 4. We've got 10 laps to go and 1/10 of a second separating the top two.
Oh, I told you to get your popcorn. It was going to get good, and it is getting really good out there on the racetrack right now. But as we've said, catching them one thing, passing them is another, and no one plays defense as good as that 8 machine out there, especially all the times he's had to try and hold off that 68 of Harmon. But you know that man is not going to give up as he continues to be about a full car length off the back of that 8 machine. This is where he's going to try to possibly embrace his inner intimidator, Dale Earnhardt. Get inside the helmet, get into the head of that driver of the 8. Get him to make a mistake. Is a 68 thought about taking it right then and there? He's going to think twice about it, though, and check up behind that 8 car as they go through the turns 1 and 2 complex one more time. The 8's still out in front. But Scooby-Doo, he is hungry for a Scooby snack, and the formidable win is look at those 2 cars drift through the exit of that corner.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin got loose coming up off of 2. It wasn't enough for Thomas Harmon to take advantage, but he's getting a little bit closer down the back straightaway. These guys are inseparable right now. It's been, well, here comes Harmon looking down to the bottom side. Slides up the track a little bit. Taylor Butcher Benjamin a little loose. Thomas Harmon a little bit loose. 8 laps to go at the line.
Oh, look at the swerve and curve here in these 2 guys. They are putting on a clinic. I don't think Harmon has the tires right now to be able to take that car down low and complete the pass. If they had fresher tires on the race car, that's a different story. But I think right now the 68 has to force the 8 into a situation where he makes a mistake on the racetrack. Overdrive the entry. Make him have to jump on those binders, perhaps. But if it's going to be a pass for the win, I think he's got to come on the top side of the racetrack. As Harmon just about on the back bumper, he can reach out and slap the back of that race car as 8 machine continues to lead, but Harmon is there. He has made up the distance. It's going to be a dogfight to the end.
It certainly is, and I think Harmon's best chance is to try to get down below him on corner exit. You just utilize that side draft, and then, like you said, dive it in deep. If he's going to make it in on the bottom, he's going to have to pull off a bit of a slider on entry, but we'll see how it's going to play out. He might have to try to force that 8 car into a mistake, all without making one himself, as he gets loose there coming up off of 2 once again. Thomas Harmon back to about a quarter of a second now, 0.3 back of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. That 8 machine has done a phenomenal job of keeping the 68 at bay, and he's only got 12 more miles to do it.
Yeah, 12 more miles to go. It probably feels like an eternity for that 8 machine, but he continues to be clutch and not falter under the pressure of the hammer, who is Harmon. Right as we're on board with this, man, now we're going to go on board with the 8. Look back to the front of that 68, and look how clean these two race cars are up at the front. We said how important it was going to be at the beginning of this race to keep your equipment in check, save it for the end, and that 68 and the 8 have done exactly that. No surprise, they're the ones fighting it out here for the end. Thomas Harmon, biggest mover of the race. Benjamin, he has been the class of the field since the drop of the green flag. Who is going to be the victor here is now just a couple laps to go here, as I believe we're currently working lap 96.
Yes, sir. 5 to go. These guys are virtually running the same line. Thomas Harmon trying to get about half a lane lower, get a little bit more clean air on the front end of that car, but just not quite able to get the power down on corner exit like he wants to get that run on the 8.
Yeah, and remember, these cars are very different from these next-gen cars. The way that you can use that dirty air, as a great defense, you can certainly do. And Thomas Harmon is doing everything he can to get out of that dirty air, but the 8 is putting his car everywhere that Harmon wants to be on the racetrack. These two have fought together so much. The one driver knows exactly what the other driver's planning to do, and because of that dirty air, Harmon can't get the downforce that he needs.
Oh man, Taylor gets loose. Now Harmon down to the bottom. He's got the nose there.
Here he goes. Gonna drive it down to the corner. Full send. Can't hold anything back right now as they are door to door coming out of turns 3 and 4. Look at this. What
Thomas
more could
Harmon,
you want?
he's got the power down on the bottom. Can TBB keep it up top, though? He comes down trying to get a little bit of side draft. They're still side by side with 3 laps to go here.
Look at the side draft move by the 8. He's going to come back up and pull door to door. They are just about side by side.
They are dead even through 1 and 2. Harmon with the advantage now coming up off the corner, but he can't use up all the racetrack that he wants to. Here comes Taylor Butcher Benjamin back up on the top side.
Side by side, like you said, he took the line away. He couldn't get back onto the loud pedal like he wanted. And that allows the 8 of Benjamin, of Harmon. Oh my gosh, I am loving this so much. I'm getting their names confused. It's a 68 and the 8, and they are putting on a
gets cleared.
68 clears Harmon. Now he's going to be at the front. Does the 8 have anything left in the tank for Harmon? He's going to peek it down low. Now he pulls back up in stride.
It's going to be a tough one. He's looking down at the bottom side of Harmon. Can he force Harmon into a mistake here? A little bit loose for TBB. It doesn't hurt him too much, though. 1/10 of a second, a lap and a half.
Lap and a half, and they both got loose at the same time as that deficit remains the same. The 8 knocking on the back door. It's not delivery. It's Benjamin now in that second place position, but he is not letting the 68 get away. He is putting on the fight of a lifetime here. Look at him utilizing the draft as we go by the start-finish line here. Working lap 100, the final lap of the race, as they come through the turns 1 and 2 complex one more time. Thomas Harmon has the advantage, but right on the heels is a very hungry Taylor Butcher Benjamin, who has led this entire race and does not want to let this slip away.
No, he does not. He slipped a little bit coming up off of turn number 2, though. That gives Thomas Harmon a couple more car lengths down into 3 and 4. It's got to be a flawless 2 turns here for Thomas Harmon. Taylor Butcher Benjamin dives it in deep. He's going to slide up the racetrack, but it's not going to be enough coming up off of turn number 4. Thomas Harmon steals one late in a thriller here at Michigan.
Oh, it's a full-blown robbery here tonight in prime time as Thomas Harmon drives from 10th place, upsets Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and he is the leader, or the winner here from the Irish Hills of Michigan, treating everyone that had it on the SRM YouTube channel to an absolute beast of a finish. That's as good as you're ever going to see. And JP, if you're listening, man, you built one heck of a lead. You should be proud of yourself, man. Round of applause. Great job, Thomas Harmon. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin, man, hold your head high. You did such a heck of a job under the pressure of the 68. But nonetheless, he gets it done here at the house that Penske built. I am fired up. And, man, what a drive there by Harmon.
And we'll run through your finishing order real quick. trying to get it done before Thomas burns it down. It was Thomas Harmon, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, and Austin Collins. Got around Matt Sisler there at the end to steal the final podium spot. And Matt Sisler, David Wright, Brandon Brorby, Philip Bush, Jacob Gladulich, Mike Lemon, Richard Springer, Ralph Fasano, Clinton Rayner, Dave Acacia, and Matt Metler. Didn't run a lap, but it was our on-track... It was our on-track reporter. Got a couple of laps and told us about it. Of course, messed up a little bit on the broadcast, so you guys didn't get to hear it. But Thomas Harmon working his way into victory lane. I'm going to go ahead and chat with the man who got it done here. Thomas Harmon, you've done it again. What is this, 42?
Something like that. I lost track now. Yeah.
Well, it didn't come easy, man. You were racing Taylor for the last 20 laps. It didn't seem like you were going to have enough to get around him, but then those last 3 laps, something came on fire in that car, and you just... I don't know, man. You were able to get around him. Kind of walk us through that battle.
Unfortunately for me, the sun was out during most of that last stint there. And whenever I get up right behind him, it would just get entirely too tight. And with a sunny, warm track, then you just couldn't do anything other than try to break it loose off the corner. But that doesn't gain you any time. And then for those last few laps, cloud cover went over the 3 and 4 side of the track, and I knew that I could run better down there that way, and I used that to position myself to get under him out of 2. Yeah, it was a fight. I definitely had to work for that one.
You started 10th place, passed 9 cars to finish in 1st. You definitely put on a clinic here today. Is there anybody you want to thank for such a strong run?
Oh yeah, you guys up in the booth for broadcast it to everybody. James for putting on the league, drivers and fans that show up each week, and Collins for letting me sit in his channel throughout the race.
Awesome stuff, Thomas. Congratulations on the win, and we'll probably be talking to you again at some point next week.
I mean, I don't even know where we're going, so we'll see.
I believe it's Sonoma.
It's a road course. The road course aren't exactly my strong point, so we'll see.
Well, rock on. Appreciate you joining us, Tom, and congrats once again.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Matt, I believe you have Taylor Butcher Benjamin up in the booth.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Matt and Liam up in the SRM booth. You got us, bud.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, I can hear it in your voice, man. You were the class of the field, virtually led every lap of the race. And just like we seen in the booth, we knew it was going to be another 68 versus 8 thriller. You were so clutch there, holding them off. Walk me through the last 3 laps of the race. How did the 68 get the run and was able to get by you? What transpired out there on the racetrack?
Well, I had a hard time getting through 1 and 2 last 10 laps or so. I started getting a little tail happy, and with like 3 or 4 to go, it really started to get away from me, and that's where I got the run. And I tried pinching him down, but he was just too smooth and got by me and cleared me clean. So, I mean, can't really ask much more. Just, it does kind of stink to lead so many laps and then have it come down to that. I mean, it was still an awesome race overall, but I just wish I could have held him off there.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you can certainly hear the real-time reaction in Taylor Butcher Benjamin's voice. As you know, he fought his heart and everything he had. He put it into that race, which was a complete thriller here tonight. But, you know, Taylor, I understand your position going out there and just having the car to beat and having it slip away at the end. But, I mean, you can't discount what you have done this season. It's certainly been a great one here in the DRL Series. What do you have next week for him when you get, I believe, to Sonoma?
Yeah, I'm not that much of a road course expert by any means, but I'm going to try to do all I can and just hit my marks and not really race the competition and just kind of race the racetrack and just try to get in some good practice this week. And may the best man win, I guess.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man that carried the torch for most of this race here tonight, gave you guys one of the best finishes you will ever see here at the house that Penske built. He comes up just a little bit short. Taylor, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on that 8 machine?
Of course, shout out to the DRL guys, David and Richard. And, of course, can't say enough about Thomas and his relentlessness. I mean, he sat back there for a while once he caught me and made his move at the right time. And, of course, thanks you guys for doing the broadcast. And I know it was kind of a small field, but good to see another caution-free race as well.
Yeah, another great point. Flag to flag once again here. What a race again put on by these guys, especially the top 3. Your second place finisher one more time tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And watch for that 8 machine to bounce back next week. He might say he's not a road course racer, but I believe in that man piloting that 8 car. No one rebounds like that 8 machine. Watch him next week. Thanks for coming on board and doing that interview with us up in the booth. I know it's the second, but celebrate. Something to hang your head high on. That was one heck of a performance. He's your second place finisher here tonight. The driver of the 8, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Liam, back to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, second place. Heartbreaker for him. Now we've got Austin Collins in third place. Austin, you had yourself a heck of a race today.
That I did. It took it out of me. It was a workout and a half there. It was hard to hang on to these cars here tonight.
Yeah, you started in, I believe, 11th place. You were able to get up, steal that podium spot in the late laps. But walk us through how tough it was working through the field and, like you said, sawing at the wheel on those long green flag runs.
It was something. I know I'm not a huge fan of Michigan to begin with, so I wasn't really looking forward to tonight. But I showed up, started in the back. I know that first run, I just pretty much followed Thomas all the way through. Then we had the pit stops. That second run, I don't know what I was doing wrong. I don't know if I was driving it in too deep and just using up too much or what, but my fuel mileage was awful. I had to clutch the last 10 laps just to even make it to lap 30 or lap 67. And so I lost a lot of time there. I know to the front two, and obviously I lost time to Matt too there. But that last run, I knew should be able to make it without running out of fuel, and just hammer down, saved as much as I could at the beginning, and then just try to drive as hard as I could, and got Matt there in the last corner coming to the line.
Yeah, you had a super smooth day following Thomas through in the first run, and like you said, stuck it through to the end, made a last lap pass. Is there anybody you want to thank for such a strong run here today?
Yeah, I got to thank you all for doing the broadcast. I got to thank JP and put on the league, all the drivers that come out and race with us. I thank Thomas for hanging out with me in Discord tonight. And anybody that tuned into the stream, and that's about it.
Well, awesome stuff, Austin. We appreciate you joining us. Congratulations on another podium finish. Go ahead and celebrate with your guys.
Thank you, man.
Well, that's going to about do it for us here on Sim Racing Media. We apologize for the coming in late on the stream. It's definitely a mistake on my part there, but I have that fixed for next time. Thomas Harmon gets the job done in an absolute thriller over Taylor Butcher Benjamin. And Austin Collins comes home third after passing Matt Sisler on the last lap.
Yeah, in fourth tonight, the 93 machine of Matt Sisler. Rounding out your top 5, the 42, David Wright. In sixth place, the 45, Brandon Broby. Residing in seventh, the 64, newcomer, Philip Bush, having a great showing here in that seventh place position. In eighth, Jacob Gladich in that 14 machine. Ninth belongs to the 38 of Mike Lemon. 10th, the 21 of Richard Springer. 11th, the 15 of Ralph Fasciano Sr. In 12th, that's going to be the 77 of Clinton Rayner. 13th belongs to the 17 of David Arcada. And rounding out the 14 drivers here tonight that technically were showing on the field, but I was up in the booth myself as your on-track reporter. And what a race we were treated to here tonight. Probably one of the best races I have ever called at Michigan during my tenure here at SRM. What are your final thoughts on this race tonight?
That was just an absolute thriller. You know, Taylor Butcher Benjamin was the class of the field. Didn't do anything wrong, like he said. He was hanging on for dear life at the end, and Thomas was just able to find the right spot to get around him. Super awesome to see it happen so late in the race. You know, kept us on our toes. I was shaking up here, still trying to catch my breath and recover from what we just saw, but it was an absolutely fantastic show, and yeah, these guys put on a show every single week. I want to thank everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if you guys at home that got to witness this on the SRM YouTube channel, if you haven't become part of the family, make sure you do. If you love this series each and every Saturday night, and don't forget, Super Tuesday is right around the corner at SRM. We have 6 broadcasts. We have shows every single day of the week. So if you've been thinking about hitting that like and subscribe button, no better time to do that than to do it right now. But again, from the house that Penske built, ladies and gentlemen, what a thriller here tonight. One that'll certainly go on down in the DRL history books. I'm Matt on the comms, your managing producer tonight. Liam Irving, you're up in the booth with me as well. Until next week, coming from Sonoma, have a great rest of the weekend and have a great evening.